On the mysterious planet of Nexus, a group of adventurers are about to get knee-deep into some weird-ass shit.
Guys, has anyone seen Mizpah?
Hello?
Mizpah, where are you?
Have they all run off again?
I think he's still level 2.
You think he's still up? Mizpah! Gazi, did you kill Mizpah?
Maybe. Maybe he found explosive cheese.
Gazi's testing things again.
What have we told you about that?
Hello?
Has anyone seen Mark? Mark?
I believe that you're referring to the Cassian highborn known as Marcilius Humanius Aurelius, actually.
Yeah, about that.
I just made Baz die of laughter.
It's pretty dark in here, and there's a thing that looks a bit like a sheep.
Kai, can you save him? Because I have a feeling he's about to play with one of Gazimoff's toys.
He's beyond saving. I gave up long ago.
It's cute and fluffy.
Mizpah, can you hear us?
I can hear voices, but the only thing here is this thing that looks like a sheep. I wonder if it's going to be friendly.
Do me a favor.
Still.
Hug it. Hug it tightly.
I'm worried for a minute.
Oh, come here, little sheepy. Ooh, it's
Another successful test.
Right. Send in the Esper. It's time to go pick up that poor spellslinger off the floor. Right.
I'm going.
Well, guess what,
Off
folks?
you go.
It's time for us to start. I do believe we have a voice that is coming in from the gods. Is that you, Mark? Whatever name you want to give yourself.
This is indeed... No, yeah, so hello.
Ah, yes. Okay, so we're going to start the show, folks. Get ready. Whoops. There we go. There's the 5 of us. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cosmotronic. And before we begin, I have to say a huge thank you to Vegas Enigma who just subscribed to us. Go ahead, Mizpah.
And indeed, it is time for us to kick off, to commence, and to assault both your eyeballs and your eardrums, if we haven't done that enough already. But we have the whole crew here, and that is a very, very good thing indeed, along with our special guest. But let's start with some hellos. Kaeyi, hello.
Hello.
How has your week of WildStar been?
It's been eventful. I am level 50 now. I've already done 3 veteran adventures. I haven't quite got my raid achievement key, but I'm working on it, and it's very exciting. So much to do.
Indeed. Pseudo, how has your week of WildStar been?
You know, I take great pleasure and pride in watching things die violently, viciously, and quickly as I pull my guns out and go, pew, 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 pew. I love being a spellslinger, just gonna say.
Nothing wrong with that at all. And Gazimoff, have you managed to sort of cure this mental imbalance yet that causes you to want to be a chewer? How's it going?
Nah, sure for life.
Sorry, folks, we're still working on that one. But whereas we are all running around having fun playing the game, it's sometimes easy to forget that there's quite a large team of people running around building the game and trying to fix things as they come up. And we're joined by someone you might know as Anlath, or perhaps as Mark Hulmes, or even a very interesting Cassian name that I possibly can't repeat. Mark, say hello.
Hello.
Now, here's the same question to yourself. Have you had a chance to do any playing, or is it just squishing bugs and dealing with community?
Well, I have had a chance to play. It's primarily been trying to resolve issues and flag issues up and make sure, everything's being looked at and everybody knows what's going on. But I have managed to sneak in a little bit of playtime. Yes, I've managed to get to the whopping level of 23. I've just managed to kind of clear off Aurora on my Dominion character, which I'm playing with the missus. But yeah, we're getting there. Just need to try and plug in some hours this weekend.
I'm sure we've all got our various plans, but a quick public service announcement before we kick off. We're seeing a few messages in chat. A few people have logged in and discovered chewers have possibly raided their bank accounts. Now, there is a bit of a regional issue going on with people's plat supplies, guys and girls out there. Carbine are very much aware of it, and I do believe they're working on it as we speak.
Yeah, they're definitely. So I'm kind of half checking emails and stuff at the same time as trying to be on the stream. But yeah, they're absolutely looking into it. The guys are aware. They're scrambling around trying to get resolutions and investigate it properly. So for those of you who have been affected, Carbine and the team are definitely on the case. So stick with it. Make sure you're following at WildStar and keep an eye on the forums as well, because they'll post the info there as soon as they have it. Okay, so Mark, has the dust settled yet in the studios, so to speak? Are you guys still in, we are in launching mode, or have you now moved into, we are in running a game mode? I'd say it's definitely in running a game mode. I mean, we were quite lucky in that, apart from a few hiccups and a few hitches there and there, launch was fairly smooth. Obviously a lot of players, with queue times and stuff like that. But a lot of that's now calmed down. It's now getting into the phase of like, okay, now we're fixing issues, we're addressing bugs, we're trying to communicate stuff that we're working on, which I see that as definitely being more running a game mode. It's still early days, it's still baby steps, there's still, things that need fixing ASAP and stuff like that. So it's not quite, the smooth running of a game that's been running for 4 or 5 years, but yeah, I'd say it's definitely still in running game mode rather than launch mode madness. I get to actually go home at the weekends, which is, a nice benefit.
Wait.
It's definitely a plus.
I thought all people who were community managers when a game came out lived, breathed, ate, and slept in the office and were never allowed to leave ever.
Well, I did that for the launch.
Were you chained to the desk?
I wasn't chained, but we were generally pulling sort of like 12, 16-hour shifts, kind of like between myself and the rest of the EU community guys and the NA community guys as well. And yeah, dinner was pretty much pizza followed by some more pizza and then some pizza for dessert as well. So it was there was a little bit of weight was put on over launch, but hey ho, it's what you do. So
well, don't gamers do the
Indeed.
same thing?
Now we're gonna.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. I think I may have been too busy to even order the pizza, but there we go. Now we're going to bounce around the studio a little bit here. And we're going to head over to you now, Gazzy. So as well as a little bit of a quick, what does the news look like? Because we need your segment. We're going to miss it. We've all got questions for you, of course, Mark. So we're going to play sort of roulette here, and we're going to put you on the spot. So you've got to imagine this Chewer searchlight coming down from above, and you'll currently get to play the role of deer in the headlights. So Gazimoff, over to you.
Okay, so kicking off with the news. 4 topics that I think are worth mentioning this week so far. First thing is that Cred is now live. So if you are not familiar with WildStar's business model, we've had this ability to pay for subscription for quite a while, but just come in is the ability to now buy this thing called Cred, which is worth 30 days game time, and put it up for sale in-game and exchange it for in-game money, so you can hopefully get as much as you can squeeze out of everyone else for your in-game cred. And that's a fantastic way of being able to exchange time for money, and then someone else can say, okay, I've made a load of money in-game, I will use that to buy a cred instead of having to pay real-life cash for a subscription. So in theory, it's win-win for everyone, because I get to make a bit of in-game money if I don't have much time to play. Someone else gets the chance to pay for their subscription with the in-game money that they've earned, and gold sellers, well, they get absolutely nothing, which is smiles all around, really.
Yes.
Well, maybe apart from the gold sellers.
Well, who cares?
And now I'm picturing Gazimoff creating gold-selling experiments where he's all like, come into my corral, and he sets them all on fire with various gadgets. That's what we need. Gazimoff the Chewer handles all the gold buying and gold selling. What a peaceful world it would be.
It sounds about par for the course. Just a quick one, Gazi. What does the spread look like on gold buying selling? Have we seen any numbers? Because I've seen forum threads going, it's too high, and others going, it's too low.
So, congratulations, you're watching an evolving market in action. So, what we're witnessing is supply and demand, and it will take time to find an equilibrium. One of the really surprising things is that on some servers you're seeing it as high as 4 or 8 platinum, and on some servers you're seeing it as low as 40, 50 gold, and I wish I was on one of them, to be honest with you. But that's the interesting thing, because you're seeing a load of different servers with their own markets and their own needs and wants, you'll see prices fluctuate from server to server. And as people work out the most efficient ways of actually making gold, you'll see prices fluctuate and then gradually come to an equilibrium. Apart from things like economy changing, patches and tweaks and so on and so forth, which will likely cause the price to fluctuate even further. But that's the great thing about it. It's a speculator's market. So, in other news, hopefully we will have the public test realm going live fairly shortly. I know that Stefan Frost put a tweet up saying that they were aiming to get it up this week. That might have been pushed back a little because of the current issues with live, but they are still gearing up to get the public test realm up and running as soon as humanly possible, which is fantastic news for those people who are looking to explore some of the new content that Carbine has in the pipeline, like, for example, Blighthaven, which is this thing that's been teased about for some time.
Can I just throw in, we've had someone in our chat, Mitchell's pointed out that the test realm is going to be the same for both Europe and NA. Is that actual truth?
I believe that's the case, yeah. So my understanding, and you have to keep in mind, like sometimes, you know, my understanding isn't great. I catch an email like halfway through the day and maybe I misremember it. I'm terrible. My memory's awful. But my understanding was, yeah, it'd be the same for both Europe and North America. And it's going to be called Nexus. Generally, that was the last thing I heard, is that we're going to kind of, instead of having Nexus as a realm name, it will become the PTR. It will only be for subscribers, obviously. So I think anybody with an active subscription. Whether or not that works for Cred, I'm not sure. That's something I'd need to check. But yeah, basically my understanding is that it will be the same.
So there is a server where people from various regions can play together. Just so happens to be the testing server.
Yeah, that's my understanding. It may change. I'm not sure. Cougar's definitely the man to ask about that one. He's definitely the guy to hassle and get that 100% confirmed.
We need to grab Cougar. That will be next week,
so,
right?
Mark, I mean, a lot of us are familiar with... Indeed, we'll work on that. So, Mark, a lot of us are familiar with the idea of PTRs or public test realms. Some of us might not be. What exactly should players be doing on a PTR? I mean, what have you guys got it there for?
Basically, my understanding is that it's going to be there to test the latest content. So it will kind of, my understanding, it will be kind of a patch ahead. It will be an update ahead, and it will be there to kind of, you know, people to go in, test the new stuff, see what it's like, give us their feedback, like what works, what doesn't work, are there bugs, what needs fixing, what's a priority, and then to go from there, basically. That's my very short explanation of it.
Personally, I'm really interested in finding out what the new emote is. Apparently, Stefan was teasing this new emote.
Oh, yeah.
On the Vine.
Drop.
Yeah. I'm really hoping it's a / chest burst.
So you know he did that as a Vine, just as a point, like, because they're, you know, he calls them sneak attacks, and often the gag of the Vine is that he gets in trouble at the end of it. Generally, like, they are kind of half true. Like, people are like, Frost, did you just make this Vine? And it's like, yeah, I did. Like sheepishly admits to it, and they're like, oh, we didn't know you were doing that. And he's like, meh. So it's kind of half genuine. Like, you know, he does get it approved at some point, but yeah, generally a lot of people don't know that he's actually making these. So often, especially the devs who have worked on what he's showing, just have no idea.
I just like the fact that in that particular Vine, he definitely pulls off a proper girl scream. He really, really does.
Frost has a surprisingly high voice. You wouldn't expect it from him, but yeah, he can reach some high notes on that thing. I think it's from his old screamo days. I think he was in like a screamo band or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
he calls
plays
it heavy
drums,
metal. It
doesn't he?
actually is just screamo.
Yeah. So in the Raids dev speak, that is genuinely him and his band doing the background music, and that was Frost on drums.
I can picture it.
Oh, pretty talented all round. So, Gazzy, have we any other new WildStar news you want to throw out there?
Indeed. So the other bit of news that I would suggest is, and this is more of a PSA, public safety announcement, is get your account equipped with two-factor authentication.
Yes.
So Carbine proactively got this up and running during early access. This is the ability to have your account protected with a second code that you need to click in, not type in, but actually click buttons with your mouse after you've typed in your password, just to verify that you are trying to access your account and it's not some foreign miscreant who's managed to hijack your account and then is going to use it to spam everyone on the server. Well worth doing for two reasons. First of all, it means that if you're the head of a 200-player guild, that someone doesn't creep in and disband your account. And yes, this did happen.
Because that would be bad.
That would be bad, and it was bad for him because he lost the lot. And he was getting phone calls and texts and so on saying, where's our guild gone? Where's our guild bank gone? Etc., etc. The second reason is because you get some nice perks for doing so. So you get the title Certifiably Certified. You get a 2% XP, renown, and prestige bonus, all wrapped into one handy buff. And you get a eye patch as well, which is a little single eye patch with a kind of glowing red, almost like a Silotron, you know.
It's like a Borg eye patch.
Yeah, it's really, really nice.
Excuse me. So the other thing I was going to say on that, by the way, guys, is you know, I've been seeing a lot of this. You know, being in community, you see a lot of it. Seeing a lot of people who don't have two-factor, who have had their account details hacked through whichever means, keylogging or using easy passwords or such stuff. And often it's a lot of times it is gold farming accounts or gold seller accounts. They hack these accounts, they get hold of them, they sell everything, they then fund the gold, and then they use them to advertise and spam in game, which then gets them banned. So that's it's more of a serious thing, but a lot of people are finding this has happened to them. Then they have to contact support. Support can help you and help you get the account back and secure it, but it's a lot of hassle, and it's something you can easily fix just by adding two-factor authenticator. And I know a few people have mentioned, it's not for Windows Phone. There is a desktop app as well, so there's plenty of ways to get it. I know not everybody likes using like smartphones and stuff, but if you can get the desktop app, if nothing else, it's just another way to help secure the account.
I also want to throw out, because we've had Stolfi in the chat say, I got the authenticator attached to my account, but I still don't have a buff. There was an issue at the launch where some people were not getting the actual buff, even though they put the authenticator on their account. I was one of them. What you want to do is go in and you want to deactivate and disconnect the authenticator from your account and then reconnect it. And that'll actually boost it. I think it has something to do with the fact that there was so much going on and they were trying to get everything set up and situated. And that's just the quick, easy fix for it. So if you do not have that little XP buff icon above your name plate, that is what you need to do. And all will be solved.
Any of the rewards.
Yeah.
Or any of the
Actually,
rewards
any
on
of
that.
the rewards. Yeah.
And then the final thing that's creeping out is that reviews have started to emerge of WildStar. And there are a couple that I think are worth highlighting. The first one is from Jeux Video, and I love this one for the quote right at the end, which was, the review's in French, but Google Translate is a wonderful thing.
You mean it works? Doesn't
You're not
translate
going to
it
give us
into
the French
Klingon?
version?
Of course it works. It's a Turing invention.
No, we need the French version, Gazzy.
Okay. Well, sorry. The quote is, the best jam is made in old jars. And I think that's a fantastic quote.
It's quite sweet.
It is. Interestingly, though, across almost all of the reviews that I've seen, WildStar seems to be coming out fairly positive at the moment. It's scoring by and large in the 80 to 90 bracket, which is very, very pleasing, especially considering that MMOs in general haven't been faring that well this year. So I'm really pleased.
And for a new IP.
Yeah, for a completely new IP that came out of nowhere. PC Gamer gave it 89. So, again, very, very encouraging review. So,
Yes, very, very.
And there's a point to make for reviewing MMOs in that, you really do need to play for a few hundred hours to really experience all of an MMO, especially something, to the scale of WildStar. So someone reviewing, unless they've put that time in, they've got to form some quick opinions. And I might argue that it's going to take a good month, 6 weeks, few months of play, get into all the playstyles, get into rating to really see the depth of content. So I think for a reviewer to be able to go in, spend 40 hours a month, whatever it might be, and get to a conclusion that it scores it that highly, it's pretty positive. I'm not sure that many MMOs would hit that, to be honest.
Yeah. One of the most pleasing things that I've seen is that a lot of people, particularly in more professional circles, are saying they're actually really enjoying the game and they want to get to the position of writing it up, but they just want to play a bit more. There were 2 Penny Arcade comics about WildStar already. One of the guys saying that you get to level 14 and you discover Animal Crossing and you start playing around with your house and stuff, running dungeons and stuff like that. You just going to muck around with sofas and end tables and bookshelves and so on. So
that was a
again,
no, sorry guys, I was just saying that was actually a really big thing for the studio, I think, because like so many of the guys at Carbine have been reading Penny Arcade for years and years and years, and to see it so positively received, to get a comic about it. I know CAD have started doing comics as well. It actually meant quite a lot. I remember the email went round the entire Carbine, emailing list. Check this out. It's a Penny Arcade strip of our game, and it's been printed out and put up everywhere. And the guys were really like the whole team. Everybody working on WildStar was just super chuffed about it because it meant a lot. I think like a lot of these guys have been following the comic for years, and so doing packs and everything else as well. So yeah, I think that was something which was quite special for the team themselves.
I loved the Facebook response as well from the studio. The Malabolg, what was it, Dungeon Boss?
Dungeon Boss, yeah. So the actual gang in the strip, they are looking to try and turn into an in-game thing, which is super awesome.
Definitely.
Okay.
So
now I'm going to pick up, if I can, Gazzy, on a couple of things that are happening in the chat right now. I'm going to start with the questions. Going to lead into the questions.
Hold on 1 second, Mizpah.
Mark, ongoing war with gold cells.
Okay, I have to break in because poor Mizpah is turning into what sounds like a Chua-created radio system, where half the time it's Mark, and then we get a word or two.
Okay, then.
I do apologize. We apparently have Chuas in the interwebs between Mizpah and the rest of us, so I do apologize. So, Mizpah, do you want to take a deep breath and try that one more time?
We shall try again. Can you hear me normally now? Because I see and hear all of you correctly.
Use the time that you have where you're not sounding like a Chua radio to say what you need to say. Go on.
Hopefully I sound... Hello, yes, I'm coming in from a long way away. Can you hear me? Let's see if this is working. So we've got an ongoing war with gold sellers. Where is it at from the studio's perspective? Have they been reacting how you would have expected? What plans have you got going forwards that you can share? Because we're already seeing the move from chat to mail, from mail to arena group invites, and things like that.
Crush them with muscular thighs. That's the overall plan. Just crush them like beetles and just eradicate. So Jeremy he's been posting on a few Reddit posts as well. It's absolutely a key priority. We want to make sure we get them out of the game. Nobody likes them. We don't like them. In terms of plans, it's not anything specific I can talk about. They're investigating, additional detections, ways of detecting and dealing with them that way. We're adding in new ways to report them for things like mail, in-game mail and stuff. We know that they've moved more from just spamming chat and spamming mail to now doing the arena invites, because it's harder for them to get detected because they're being banned. Like, as soon as they're being found, they're getting thrown out of the game. So now they're trying to move into ways to make it harder for people to report them, which is standard gold seller tactics. It's the kind of thing we expect. I also think cred will have a big effect on them once the price starts to stabilize. We're already seeing it on some realms where it's actually cheaper to buy gold via cred, which is legitimate and safe and is helping out another player, than it is to go through the gold sellers. And I think that will have a huge, especially long-term effect on getting rid of them out of the game. I think it's that, these people, they're like locusts. They're moving from one field to another. And I remember when they started hitting WildStar pretty hard, I was seeing reports from people on Twitter and on Reddit saying, oh, they've shifted from other recently released MMOs or recently released, other games. And so they'd obviously all flocked to the latest kind of fresh field to try and get as much as they can before they, got booted out, basically. But yeah, it's nothing specific I can talk about, but it's definitely something that we're working on. It's definitely a big priority. We don't want them, and we want to get them out as soon as possible.
I'm going to bring up two things of note in this, so I do apologize for stopping in the Mizpah. But we have two things that are coming in. One, and Mizpah's typing. type. One of the things that I have noticed and that has been discussed is the fact that Carbine built into their system the inability to really allow robots to exist into their API. You actually must be actively clicking and moving and doing things. So they have built-in protection from the very get-go before we've even gotten to this phase where people can actually play the game, and it's something that is amazing. So kudos and hats off to them, because this is a very serious issue. Because what ends up happening with security on these things is that people end up getting more than just their game accounts hacked, because too many people sadly use the same email and the same password for everything. So if you're doing that, folks, stop it. Get a password manager.
Don't.
There are tons out there. Seriously, you just need to stop that. The second thing is we do know, and I've had this mentioned by a couple people, including Chad. We have gold sellers who they've gone the route they've started out with, hey, we're just going to spam, trade, etc. Well, that was kind of taken care of really quickly. They then moved into the mail system and, like you said, the arena invites. But they've started to put like 1 copper into the mail that they're sending to the people they're trying to spam. And from one person, Robots Hates Me has made mention that people are getting banned for taking the copper to delete the email. Or how do Carbine want us to handle those spam mails that come in? Can we get a slightly official statement on that one?
So it's definitely a case of if you, and I know it's difficult, we're aware that they're doing that. And it may be that a couple of players just got picked up by, CS, and mistakes do happen. I'm sure CS won't mind me saying that. There is the occasion where somebody gets mistakenly banned. Contact support if that happens. They will sort it out. They will make sure you get your account back and help you secure it and do all that stuff. They will unban you if you've been unfairly banned. We're not just going to leave you there to suffer. My recommend is don't respond. There's no need. You're not going to do anything. They're not going to read it. Just save yourself a hassle. If it doesn't have anything in it, just delete it. If it does have a copper, if you can leave it, just leave it. Report them. If you take it away, the intention is not to take action. But as I said, there is the occasional thing where an auto system can pick you up or something like that. If it happens, contact support straight away. But yeah, my advice is if you can, try not to deal with it and just delete it. And then otherwise, just go about it as normal.
I would also want to stress, and I do apologize, Gazi, for everybody who plays this game or any other MMO where they try to do some kind of balance between gold selling, hacking, and allowing the players to exist, there is a very difficult line that has to be walked of what is too extreme versus what is too lenient. And the hope is like, for example, Robots has said that 2 of his guildies got banned. Hopefully they are in touch with customer support so they can be taken care of. But hopefully people are patient and are willing to sort of accept that little bit of extreme so that we can protect the entire community from what, in my opinion, is a virus, what is a plague to the MMO player, as well as to the companies, because it screws more than just the company over. It demolishes a game from the inside out on an economic level. We've had many shows about this. So, do be patient.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is just return stuff as well. Like if it does, and I haven't actually had any in-game mail myself, but just return it if you can, so...
Yeah. And in the latest patch that just went live this morning, the report sender feature just went live. So I've just had that. I had a bit of spam in my mailbox earlier today. Just hit report, and the great thing is you only need to do it on one message, and everything else from that sender will just vanish forever from it. So
because it will actually block it.
Yeah. Use that report function. Use it vociferously, and help Carbine crush them between their muscular thighs.
And not just with Gold Cell as well. We know that bots are hitting BGs as well. Report them there as well. /ticket. You know, make sure you include the character name, what realm they're from. This is really important in BGs because they're cross-realm. If you see a player, you know, make sure you mention which realm they're from, mention the character name, what they were doing. Try and give as much info as you possibly can as well. These guys are getting action taken against them, so do everything you can. And we'll sort it out. You know, it's teething problems. It will get sorted. But we know it's not fun, so we want to try and take action as soon as we can.
Go ahead, Mizpah.
So another one for you, Mark. If indeed, am I now still coming from another planet, or can you now hear me?
It seems okay.
It seems okay for the moment, but sometimes you do sound like a Chua.
I shall carry on for a moment. So those of us who have a mindset towards raiding, one of the many types of endgame available here, are starting to see the first bits of information trickle through. We've had a handful of 20-man kills now. I don't know, as of this morning, I hadn't seen completion of 20-man. I'd seen, I think, 4, 6, I think, as of this morning. May have been 5 or 6. Where is the raiding game at from a studio perspective? No completion still. Okay.
Yeah, as far as I was aware.
Is this where you expected people to be?
That's difficult. I mean, that's really a question for Time Traveller. I mean, I had my ideas. I made some foolish promises. But it's also a case of I know people haven't had a real look at Datascape yet as well. So I couldn't tell you if their progress in GA is what we expected or not. That's really something that Time Traveller would be able to ask. So make sure you hassle him on the forums and try and get an answer from him there. But I think Datascape will be a different beast. I think that, you know, GA is tough, and, you know, but it was also in open beta as well. Like, people had been fighting bosses, they were learning mechanics in open beta, whereas Datascape is going to be a very different beast.
Fair enough. So we're going to bounce around the studio again. Kaeyi, we're heading in your direction. It is your turn to place Mark under the spotlight.
Okay. I'm not sure if it's something that's been spoken about a lot, but I've seen in the chat now, and something that I've been wondering is do we have any sort of estimation when, like, the technologists may get some crafting love? I'm a technologist myself, and I think every other crafting profession except mine has something to do at endgame, and it's, like, a bit sad. And I don't know if they've sort of made any official thing or...
It's no official thing. It's one of the issues that I've been flagging up. I mean, the last week or so has generally been me spending a lot of time in the forums specifically. I've been spending a bit more time in Reddit and on Twitter as well, just responding to stuff. Generally, I've just been collating issues and feedback as well, class balance and all that kind of stuff. And technology, the endgame technology stuff is definitely in there. I know architects are unhappy that a lot of recipes aren't dropping. I know that we've just changed the costs for a lot of their stuff, and you know, there's all this balancing stuff, and we know it. Some people are always going to be unhappy, and you know, it's one of those unfortunate things when it comes down to stuff like this. But we are listening. I know everyone says, "Oh, the devs are listening," and then you get the people that are like, "The devs aren't listening." Oh, they are listening. And, you know, you get this eternal battle on the forums and Reddit between them. But we genuinely are. We can't always respond. This is something which I've been kind of trying to reiterate on the forums, is that I know it doesn't always mean the same when a support person or a community person says we're looking into this, or like, yeah, this is something that we flagged. But the devs just don't always have that time. Like, they just
they're listening,
don't have
but not always replying.
Exactly, and it's not their job to reply. It's really my job to come on and say, "Hey guys, I have physically emailed this issue to the right dev. They are going to look at it. We are looking into it." And yeah, technologist and a lot of the crafting stuff is definitely on there as well.
Definitely, people should contact devs on Twitter. I know it's a little bit different, and people may see like it as another way, but I had a lot of issues with sort of story quests bugging out on the first week because I was like blasting through content, and I had so many of the devs, not even sort of the main sort of named devs that people would know about, just tweeting me and contacting me and asking what specific bugs were, and I saw them interacting with so many people, and even you today, Anlath, when I said the authentication servers were down, you were like on it, and then everyone was favoriting it. So you know, Twitter as well is, I think, a great place to contact people because so many devs reply to people.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like, generally, it's quite a few of us, like, because different people use different social media platforms. Like, I'm a big Twitter guy. Some of the other devs are Reddit people. Like, that's just how they are. Some of the devs are forum people. But generally, the community team is watching all three at all times. Like, anything, if you put it on Twitter, and you tag, like, hashtag WildStar, or you tweet it at WildStar, we're going to know about it. We can't always reply, but it's always going to get flagged, and we're always going to be aware of it. And it's kind of one of those things. Twitter's really good if it's a quick issue. So if people are like, hey, EU login's down, great. Yeah. It's really quick. I'm straight on it. I can page out and say, hey, guys, we need to sort this out. If it's a more complicated issue, it's always better to go to the forums just because you can post more info. Like, rather than having to send 5 tweets to get 500 and whatever characters, you can actually just create a thread, and then you can just link it to me. You can just say, hey, at WildStar, at CRB, Anlath, you know, look at my forum thread. I've posted all the info you need. Bam. And then that's great. That helps me out. I can just go, right, look through it. And even if I can't confirm it myself, what I'll do is I'll send it over to somebody like the QA teams at Carbine, and I'll say, hey, guys, can you just try and confirm this? Can you try and verify this? If I can verify it myself, I'll log in game and try and verify it myself and say, yep, this is broken. Whoop, send it over. Things like, I know a lot of people have been having problems with enemy at the gates. We've tried a bunch of fixes. Different problems keep coming up. But that was something where I could just, you know, we just sent it over, it got looked into straight away, or somebody else in the office who has like a high-level character jumped in and just checked it, and it was like, yep, this is broken, great, boom, straight to the devs. So, yeah, basically, we are always monitoring stuff, and Twitter and Reddit and forums and all that stuff is, you know, being watched like hawks. I have a second monitor which I have up lengthways, and I just have the Twitter stream on there all day because it's the thing I use the most. So I was
DMing some people like screenshots. I think it was young War Chief, Peter Sung. He's awesome, and I was like sending him screenshots of like my little visual bugs, and he was like getting that right. And then Pappy was like messaging me like, "How's the lore going? How's the lore going?" I was like, "Oh my god, Pappy is so good." I was like tweeting devs more than playing at one point, so they definitely are listening. They do care, but you just have to find their personal accounts and harass them like I do.
On that note, are there any bugs or features which might end up being left in the game, like a certain...
Are you referring to your mount with the giant Osun riding your ball around?
Osuna cycle. That was crazy.
It was amazing. I sent that on, and I just sent on the video. I was just like, hey guys, you know, one of our, you know, community folks and press folks has found this pretty funny bug, but blah blah blah. And there was this serious conversation of like, oh, I kind of want to keep this in. Like, this is really funny. Like, can we find a way to, instead of making it a bug, make it into a sort of semi-feature? And it was just like, I don't think we can do it. Yeah, it was just like, it's just going to have to go down as one of those, you know, hilarious bug videos that will stick around forever and, you know, we can link to and refer to in the past. It's things like, I love stuff like that. I remember in one of the live streams, and he gets so much grief for it now, but Hugh Shelton, he said the balance in the game is perfect, and then people ended up remixing it into like a music video, and we send it to him all the time now. Whenever like people are like, you know, oh, this class is really bugged or whatever, I just send it to Hugh. I link to the thread and then just say, you know, but Hugh, the balance in this game is perfect, and then I just link the video. It's just great. But yeah, I was hoping it would become a feature, but no, I don't think that there's anything which has cropped up quite like that. I remember in beta as well, a lot of people were quite upset that there used to be, people developed a tactic for dash jumping, and it was kind of, there was a sort of half discussion of, well, is this a feature or is this something we want to encourage? And it's really difficult for devs because obviously a lot of players are like, this is a really cool thing that I found in the game, which is actually really skillful and it's really fun. But then the devs have to sit there and think, well, but is it balanced? Is it going to impact things which are the bigger picture? And I think that's really tough for devs, especially. They've got to think about the big picture. They can't think in the micro. They can't think about, well, how does this affect one person's playing experience? How is this fun for one person? They've got to think about the game as this universe, and it's tough. You can't always make easy calls.
Yep, completely
And
understand that.
to use that as an example, if we'd left that in, there's so many places.
Hold on.
So let's bounce around again. Pseudo.
I'm sorry. We got, I think, 2 words out of what you said, and they were just
freeze framed like a 90s action film. It's just like a final pose.
There
He's
you
talking
go.
in Morse code.
It does definitely seem that way, but apparently we do have a roused error in replacement of Mizpah for this show. Not going to say it's not an improvement. I'm
I've said
sorry,
the last
Miz. Okay, so is it my turn to throw a question and put the Anlath on the spot? Is that what you were telling me or trying to say? Okay. Right, this is where I state, for those of you who are curious, and I've had a couple people asking, I'm a level 30 spell slinger. I am an exile. My goal is healing. My goal is to heal for 40-man content. And I'm slightly taking my time, slightly not taking my time. Very long story there, but I have been teased a little bit much by the new upcoming content that has been sneak attacked to us by Frost and that fantastic vine where he girly screams with the best of them when he gets caught. What can you tell us about the new content? And again, we know that they've made mention that there's some new story content. We've heard them say there's a new zone coming. I mean, come on, Anlath. You're with friends. It's not like anyone's going to know. Can you tell us what's coming?
We won't tell anyone.
Yeah.
I will tell you, there will be interactive gameplay elements that you may share with your friends, and new graphics for you to see, and new items.
New items?
That is very informative information.
I have to pause here and I have to say, are you sure that we can confirm your statement? Is this an actual thing we can say confirmed on?
What, confirm that there will be interactive content, graphics, and items? Yes, you may absolutely.
For players.
Absolutely quote me. Yeah, for players. Yeah, you may quote me on that.
Does it use a keyboard and a mouse and a monitor? Can we get confirmation on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
that has
it's,
got to be the best in-depth question answer we have gotten yet.
What I can
Confirmed,
say,
no controllers.
What? Do you know what? Actually, on complete tangent, I actually have been checking out, trying to play WildStar with a controller actually this week. I downloaded Xpadder, I got the Deadlock Extended add-on, and for a warrior, it's surprisingly good. Like, if you just want to relax, because being on the keyboard and mouse all day at the office, I wanted a way to just I just kind of want to relax a bit more. And for combat and just PvE leveling, it's actually really nice for the melee classes. It's actually proven quite enjoyable. I still use keyboard and mouse for any kind of dungeons or adventures or PvP, but for just leveling content, it's more than adequate. It's actually really nice. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, on the future content thing, on the next load of stuff, I would get in a lot of trouble if I say any more details. What I probably can say is that the live streams next week might show some stuff. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't seen the format. I just had an email from Tony saying, hey, can you join me on the stream? We might look at some content, some update stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. I haven't even seen it. I'm excited. So, but even I don't know what it will be. But yeah, it might be worth checking that out next week.
Maybe he just wants your voice acting talents.
Well, considering the poor job him and Frost have been doing on the live streams with their impressions, I think that's absolutely necessary.
They need a challenge.
Well, they need to bring
absolutely.
someone from the UK or Europe over to help them out.
Yeah, I'm gonna school Tony in my Jean-Claude Van Damme because nobody can beat my Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay, now you have just thrown down the
No, I'm
gauntlet.
saving it now. Yeah, exactly.
No, you
but I'm saving it.
can't tease us
I
like
can.
that.
Oh, I can.
Tell you
I
what,
just
do
did.
Arnold instead.
Well, if you want me to do my Arnold, that's not a problem. You know, I like making the movies. Kai, I'm sure you like watching my movies like Last Action Hero, where I say, ice that guy, the Kona phrase.
He sounds more like Christopher Walken than he does Arnold.
That's what are you on about? What are you on about? My Arnold is amazing. My Arnold
Sorry,
is.
I was expecting you to start breaking out into like
So-
a total Christopher Walken. It's what it sounded like to me.
See, everybody just does Arnold too over the top. Like, Arnold's voice is, it's much more subtle than that. Mine's a very realistic impression. That's how I put it across. Mine's much more...
I'm sure he would be
mine's
thrilled.
the Governator. Yeah, exactly. He's the Governator.
It sounds like you
Of
have a
course,
fever.
if you want me to do my Christopher Walken, this is more how it sounds. When he talks about the Jubilees, Arnold Walken, I know. I'll be back in a minute.
It sounds like you have a fever, and the only cure is clothes, boots, and motorcycle.
I got a fever. The only cure is your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. I don't understand. Yeah.
And before we all die of laughter, I think it's time to do a little bit of a redirect, because I'm rather worried by the voice that's going to come up next. We have got a lot of questions in the chat. I'm sure we've all got more things we want to say, but let's make a point of trying to pull some of these out of the chat. Pseudo, what do we have that we can throw at Monsieur Anlath here?
Well, I'm actually checking with my husband real quick because he has been the one who has been collecting. By the way, a huge thank you to Gwent, who has been doing the moderating, getting the questions. Remember, start your questions with a Q and double colon, not a double, single colon, double dots, the colon. Just bring us questions that way. It makes it so much easier for us to grab it because they do pop up on our streams. They are lightable and we can see things. Yes, I was waiting for my show notes to actually update. Okay. So let's start off. We've pretty much gotten quite a bit from those. Katamari, hello darling, who has been a frequent watcher and pretty much follows WildStar around every time I see her. In fact, and I don't have it in front of me, I think I took it upstairs because I'm starting to build my office. Katamari built or drew me an image of me as a lop, which I absolutely love. In fact, actually, no, I have it. I have a copy of it. So this is me, Anlath, as Lopzilla.
You are the Lopzilla,
Oh,
that's
that's
very
amazing.
true.
Thankfully, it's less scary than the real-life version.
Yes, I have many copies because I have an office that's being built upstairs for our studio. But her question is there implementation for reporting for BG bots for /AFK?
Is in a specific reporting. I don't believe there is any specific reporting. They are looking into more detection systems and methods. Generally, the best way to report a player for AFKing in a BG is just to do /ticket, and then, as I said, make sure you include the realm name of the player name, and the details of what they're doing. I don't think there's a right click, and this is something actually. This kind of harkens back to my days when I worked on RuneScape as the community manager. We found that right-click reporting, like if you just enable somebody to right-click a player and then report them straight away, it really encourages vindictive reporting, which generally comes out quite bad. Like people will just mass report somebody because they don't like them, which creates a lot of extra work for CS, which then means that other issues aren't being looked at, which means that other reports aren't being actioned. So it's it's a really tricky balance. But yeah, the best way to do it is just do /ticket, report a player name, realm name, details of what they're doing. That's probably the best thing to do. But as I said, they are looking into more detection methods and stuff, and anti-cheating and stuff like that as well.
It's a difficult balance.
Yeah. We have I think that the fix in yesterday's patch, when you're dead, you shouldn't count as AFKing anymore, which is nice. So you can actually die and not get booted out of the BG now. So.
We've had also a question come in from Grammys, who is asking, is there any word on increasing the drop rate for the Spellslinger's Trigger Finger amp? There's such a high demand for it right now that the price is basically insane.
Yeah, so I don't know anything specific about that particular amp, but there have been a couple of amp issues that have been, that we've raised awareness on and we've sent over to devs. But for a lot of this stuff, I can't give a specific yes that's being fixed. But that is one thing which we have passed on. So it has been flagged up to Carbine.
I like flagging. I now have little lop pictures, images of little lops using their ears and the old-fashioned flag movement methods to get the letters across. So it's sort of like Morse code with lop ears. I like the lop. Leave me alone. Don't judge me.
It's quite funny because I have my girlfriend Nina, who here is a big WildStar fan. You've probably seen some of her art and stuff, and I can just see her talking to Kai on Skype and showing pictures of the picture of the pug puppy that we might be getting, just to drop her in it. It's couldn't resist looking at pug puppies.
It's nearly like the time we got trolled by Littlewoods in the background with the licking puppy.
He was playing a licking puppy on his screen.
Absolutely adorable. And it's another AMP question. You've said that they are looking at some of the AMP question or AMP things that are in game. There is a question from Sixie asking about the Engineer AMP boosted armor. Apparently, they don't even think it's in game. I'm assuming all AMPs are in game. They just haven't been found.
Amps. Yeah, or either all amps are in game. It may be that there could very well be an issue with the drop rate on it or something like that. Again, it's not something I have instantaneous knowledge of myself, but again, that's another one which I've sent across and I know is being investigated by QA. So.
Okay, and I'll have you one more time also respond about the gold issue because we've had more people join now who have questions about what may have occurred.
So I'm actually just kind of catching up on some issues and stuff, some emails because I kind of got my iPad here. I know that they are preparing a hotfix for it. The idea, looking through these mails, we're going to mail replacement gold. That's currently the idea. I don't have any further information, but I'm pretty sure that we will find a way to make sure that people get their lost money back. And there's a hotfix being prepared at the moment.
There you go.
There you go.
Can I have some gold? Mine wasn't taken, but I just want some.
You're so quiet, Kai. Speak up.
Yes.
Well, Kai, you can buy a cred and sell for money.
I bought a cred, I just haven't sold it yet. I'm waiting. I'm waiting till I can get more plat for it. Yeah.
You sound like, I have to say, you do sound like the Harrods branch of Protostar Corporation with that.
Wouldn't that be amazing? I need to speak to Corey actually and see if we can make that a thing. Make a Harrods branch of Protostar.
An exclusive arm.
Yes.
Selling you the house
So
of
I'm
your
going to
dreams
throw one out
for
there.
money. Yep.
So I'm going to throw a new one out there for us. We've seen lots of little sort of culture references and Easter eggs and maybe surprising things in game. Not all of them we may have known from beta. Some might be new. Some might just have not been found. I mean, I'll give an example. There was I believe it's a golden stag in White Val. If you happen to see this golden stag with the glow, and you happen to have a scientist around, the scientist could scan it, and you get this item, which can give you this wonderful golden aura, which only seen a very small number of players have, and it's reusable, so you can maintain this aura. What are the favourite little Easter eggs or little things like that that people have found? And we will start with you, Mark. Give us, surprise us with something that people might not know.
So there was one thing which was added in for launch that wasn't in for beta, which I loved, and I actually emailed the person responsible straight away just to confirm it. I was like, did you add this in, like, after launch? So, because I'm playing an Explorer this time around, and I hadn't played an Explorer before, I dabbled in it, and I did the first tracking mission, and they added this Benny Hill themed music, like this kind of almost like a parody of, so you know, the da 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 da, and it was a slight parody of that, and it was while you're chasing the tracking, the lop around, and it was just genius because I had never heard it before. I didn't even know they were implementing it, and I just sat there. I was like, this is amazing. What a great reference to put in, and it was really awesome.
Yes, Yakety
So
Sax. If you want the proper name for it.
I refer to it as Benny Hill because I'm British, so that's how I've always known it. But yeah, Yakety Sax, yeah.
Yes.
Do we have any other discoveries from people, either the channel or you guys in there? Anything else that made you go, what?
Well, it's not so much as a discovery because I knew that it was kind of there, but it was still lovely to see. For those of you who are new to watching us or unfamiliar with MMOBuff or Mizpah, you may not know that Mizpah has an obsession with cheese. And when I say an obsession, I mean an obsession. It is terrifying.
It is bad.
We are trying as a group to get him help for his addiction. We don't think it's going to work. We think it's built into his DNA. However, inside the exile city of Thade, there is this little alcove in the middle of nowhere. Not really in the middle of nowhere. It's sort of dead center in the city itself, where you have an altar to cheese. And there is a cheese with mattresses around it. And last night, the guild took him there. He bowed before it. And our guild leader now is basically the Cheese King. It's an achievement you
Yes,
can get.
the big cheese is the title you actually get for that one, which will now be staying secured above my head for the foreseeable future.
He actually threatened the guild. He's like, no one else in the guild can use this. And I'm sitting there going, no.
Yeah. So could I request it's now removed from the game now that I have it?
No. I just really quickly want to jump on. I just saw a question in the chat, and I know it's been an issue a lot of people have been raising on Twitter and Reddit and the forums, and I wanted to just quickly comment on it. I know that a lot of people, there were some changes made to the Veteran War of the Wilds adventure, and a lot of people have been really struggling to get silver and gold because of the way the objectives come in too late, or objectives for things that you've already done have come in. There is, like, it has been addressed. The Adventures team were aware of it. Fixes have been made. They didn't make it into the latest patch, but they are aware of it. They're going to try and get it in as soon as possible. So I just want people to know that that has been, totally noticed. It's going to be sorted, and we know that people, are currently struggling to get that silver and gold because of it. So we're going to try and get that sorted ASAP. I just saw that question. I wanted to jump in on that because I know it's been upsetting a few teams.
It's
Very valid. I mean, this leads to a couple of things. That one was changed, for example, because it became possible previously to do the run in about 20 minutes, skip objectives, hit gold. Clearly, that's not really the design intent. Another example of something like that has been the removal of the 850 or 920 AP crafted weapons. These are the weapons with lots of AP and no SP. So all that stat budget goes in one direction. It becomes pretty out of balance with anything else at its level, or lots of levels. Obviously, you have to react to things when they get found. And obviously, you make a fix, and you might need to make more than one fix as you work your way through it. Are there any other examples of things you know about that have had to be changed quickly, and maybe there's several more steps to go to get them to their final state?
I know there was a hot fix just before the big patch to do. I can't remember. It was like the elixir of life energy or something. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I know that got swiftly changed because it was being used in raids and PvP, and it just had a slightly too powerful effect, so they needed to adjust that slightly. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I'm sure there is stuff, and I've just forgotten it, and it's probably in the patch notes threads somewhere.
I also want to...
Yeah, Go see them.
I was going to say, I'm going to mix in because we like I said again, we do have some people who are watching who haven't seen things before. We have discussed the fact that there are changes coming. They are addressing issues with the gold. Do you want to just one more time reiterate the authentication issue with EU servers?
Yes, I don't know. I can't remember. Looking at the emails and stuff, I don't know how much is related to what. But basically, there was an issue where some players basically had their money stolen and were left with about 50 gold. There is being looked into. A hotfix is being worked on. My understanding, just quickly glancing at email, is that we're going to be mailing out replacement gold. And I'll basically keep watching at WildStar in the forums for any update on that. The guys should be making sure that people are aware. And if you need more information, don't be afraid to tweet at them or post in the forums and say, hey, give us info.
I was actually referring to the authentication issue.
Oh, as in making sure people have authenticators?
No, that's, the authentication servers seem to have some issues.
Well, I think that should be up now. I know it dropped down just before we went live, but it should have come up quite quickly. If it is still happening, then it's probably related to the guys trying to roll out a hotfix for this gold issue, perhaps. Again, I'm only sort of half glancing at email here, so.
Okay.
But yeah.
Gazi.
Yes, so one of the things which I would say is, in terms of my highlights, going back to what Mizpah was saying beforehand, is I've been taking the game a little bit more seriously now. WildStar is serious business. So I've started playing around with add-ons, getting add-ons set up, getting them installed, and so on and so forth. I hate to say it, I am running the Cheat Simon add-on because I'm not a fan of the Simon.
Bad Gazi.
It's like my
bad Kaeyi.
It's just so good. It's just you just watch the little thing like bloop 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 bloop.
Look, when you're standing there as a little chewer and you're surrounded by things that want to eat you, and all that's standing between you and death is the couple of bots that you've got tanking the world. Of course you've got to run Simple Simon. It's like, yeah.
I have to state right now, I have lost respect for the chewer.
So my question to Anlath was going to be, have you started to dabble in add-ons yourself? And if so, what are you using?
Yes, I have started just dabbling, not too much. I am what Kai would call a filthy casual vanilla player. In that before, like, during beta and everything, I used plain UI, no add-ons. I used a regular keyboard and mouse, no Razer, no Naga, no Logitech or anything like that. I have a 2-button or 3-button mouse that I use. But I have started dabbling into them. Like I mentioned, for the controller support, I do use Deadlock Extended, which I sort of half use with my keyboard now as well. I picked up Group Radar and BG Plates just because of when the nameplates was an issue. I actually didn't quite like the look of BG Plates, so I've actually switched back to using the old ones and just moving their position on my UI. What else did I pick up? I may have used Cheat Simon when I was using a controller because it's very hard to do Simon with a controller. I have disabled it when I don't use it, but when I use a controller, it is quite hard.
I believe there's a quest in Farside that gives a title for a particularly interesting Simple Simon puzzle.
Yes.
So it really needs, I think, to detect that add-on and not give the title if someone is using it.
Yeah. Gaz is like, no, please, I want my title. So those are the only ones I've looked. I want to try Stash Space. And the what's the icon one, Gaz? I know you mentioned it in a tweet.
Icon Loot.
Icon Loot. That's the one.
Icon Loot is so good. I love Icon Loot so much. I love it. Amp class icons is really good as well if you've got a guild. It basically changes the color of amps to class colors, and so like Esper amps are like bright blue, I think, and stuff like that. It's really cool.
It just makes it a bit nicer when it comes up as well. Like, it just makes it a bit more identifiable when you get something nice. So,
and you can have that notification for like epic loot, like
yeah,
really
which is pretty cool. But yeah, so I've started dabbling.
Mm-hmm. So now you go ahead. I heard it.
Okay, I'm gonna feed another one in. Now, we're a few weeks in. This is the point where players normally go, I love this game, I'm going to keep playing it forever. And some people go, I've had a look, maybe not for me. You know, from what I can see, populations are... we're back to the talking roused hour now, I can tell.
No, it was just the way you went. People say, I love this game, and they're not.
Fair enough.
Actually, Mizpah, what you need
what do the
to
sales
do...
look like? Where are we at?
So, I'm just because I don't know if I'm okay to give any specifics. I'm letting Gaz and Pseudo just laugh. I'm just letting them deal with it. So I don't think I have the correct info to give anyway. What I'm aware of is that we are beating our own internal targets. So even if I can't share exact data just because I don't have it and I don't know how accurate it is, you know, in meetings and stuff, it has been made clear that we have beaten internal targets. So, you know, that's probably about as much as I can say.
I want to throw
Fair
in
enough.
there...
Congratulations on that one.
I want to throw in there, it's great that you've achieved the target of at least 2. Yes!
No, it's quite nice though. It's kind of especially for something which is a new IP. You know, it has the trappings of you know, when so many of the competition are trying to. Yeah, when so much of the competition is trying to break the mold and do something really different, and you know, WildStar does things differently, but it also still has a lot of familiarity, and it is a new IP. You know, it's been quite nice to see it get such, you know, as Gaz mentioned earlier, getting nice critical reviews, that we are beating internal targets and stuff like that. You know, it warms the heart.
The cockles, if you want to say it in the British way.
Warms the cockles.
Warms the cockles.
So,
Indeed.
I do have a question, if that's okay. So, we've had boomboxes for about a week now, and we've all been opening our boomboxes. So I want to know, and I'll tell you mine first, what's the best thing you've had from a boombox so far? So I've had some model ships, which I've been arranging, so I've got like a kind of like a ship graveyard thing going on at the moment, but I want to know from you, what's the best thing you've had from your boomboxes?
The best, I've been screwed on my boom boxes. Like, I just want to put that out there. I watched Nina open hers, and she's getting mounts, and she's getting dies, and all this cool stuff that I want. Elder gems. So the best thing I've got is probably the Raiden hat, which on my Draken looks awful because the horns keep clicking through it, so it doesn't even work well for that character, which is annoying. I'd probably say that's probably the best thing I've got. Like you, I've got like 5 model ships that I've got out of it. I've had a couple of housing items. What else did I get? I've had a flask of experience, which was quite handy, actually. That was quite nice. Oh, I got one of I call them the rare candies for path levels, the ones which give you a free path level. That was quite nice. That's probably the best thing. Yeah, that was probably the best thing. So I'm saving that. I'm saving that for when I'm level 29 in my path.
Nice.
Kai, what about you?
Right, what?
Sounds to me as if your boombox rewards have been quite good.
I've been alright. I got the Raiden hat, which I managed to sell to a desperate guildie for gold. So that was good. I actually got the disco ball, like flare for my woolly mount, so it's now got a disco ball hat. I got a few model ships. I got a teleport consumable item that I could teleport, like an additional sort of teleport to your transmat, but you can only use it once, and I didn't realise, so I used it, and then I was like, oh, well, that was wasted. I've had a couple of dies, a lot of crafting materials, actually, which was quite good because they were like the signs of life, blah, blah, blah. So I managed to like sell them for quite a lot when I didn't need them. So I've managed to make quite a bit of money and make my house really good at the same time. So yeah, I've been quite lucky.
Gazi?
Well, I mentioned that I had a load of ships, so my ships came in, if you could say that. So I've got this kind of ship graveyard thing going.
Right. So what about you?
Oh,
Mizpah?
come on! What do you expect?
I think I'm actually possibly managing to be one rung under the ladder from you, Mark. I did successfully get 2 really nice experience boosts the day after I hit 50. I managed to get some great PvP boosts whilst not PvPing. But I did get some really good catalysts and things for a profession that I don't have. But I have been enjoying seeing other people get mounts repeatedly whilst futilely opening my boxes and crying in the corner.
Do you know what you're going to find in your next one, Mizpah?
A mount?
I reckon Mizpah will find. Yeah. I reckon you'll find the world's smallest violin in your next one.
How many boom boxes did you guys start with? I was pleasantly surprised at mine because I didn't log in every day of sort of pre-order and open beta, and I think I started with 89 boxes. So I thought that was pretty good.
I had over
That's a
50.
lot.
And I have to say, for me, the most exciting thing that I've gotten so far was being level 14 and having an Elder Gem.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of those
Pretty cool.
what moments, and I was just like, okay, all right then. Now we do have an awful lot of questions from the stream, so I just have us go through them really quickly because we want to make certain, because we have questions that are coming directly for you, Mr. Mark.
Sure.
So let's work slightly backwards. For you, Mark, what is the accolade or review that you're most proud of?
Oh man, that's tough. Because I mean, we're still like, there's still some coming in. I mean, I'm a really big Penny Arcade fan as well, so that's really awesome to see. You know, Gabe and Tycho really enjoying the game. I've been following the comic for years and years. You know, I've been following a lot of their side projects that they've worked on and stuff as well. I've watched all the Penny Arcade TV. So that was really, really cool, and I'm kind of secretly hoping that maybe they'll want to take me out to PAX so I can kind of meet those guys as well. PC Gamer, because again, it's been a huge part of my childhood growing up, like, you know, buying PC Gamer when I was, you know, a teenager and stuff like that. So to see those guys giving a really high score and really enjoying the game and getting to meet some of them at the press events that we've done has been really awesome as well. Yeah, I think like some of those have been really nice, and I think it's also, you know, for me as a community person, it's seeing the the level of positivity in like the streams and stuff, like, you know, the fact that, you know, all of you guys like it so much, that that Kai and Martin and a bunch of the Yogscast guys have been enjoying it, that a bunch of webcomic guys, you know, not just Penny Arcade, have been enjoying it. That's really fun for me, like seeing kind of the regular gamers really loving it. And it sounds cheesy, but it's nice to see that positivity going out into the world via things like streams and comics and, you know, art and stuff like that. That's really exciting, because I think like that shows that there's a commitment, there's an engagement there, which is nice.
Okay. Of course, I was totally expecting you to just go, well, obviously being on Cosmotronic.
Well, it goes without saying.
Go to that saying.
So now I have to
saying.
make certain that when I edit this for YouTube, I edit, so what is your most important thing? Is it being on Cosmotronic? Well, of course, that goes without saying. Post-editing for the win. I wouldn't do that. Not really. Summer Radux... Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I love seeing in the chat that obviously people are watching the ball of feats, and you just see the occasional, like, goal, or like, oh, the score's this. I'm not sure it's the right audience, like, for people like to mention that stuff. But,
hey, people
Some of us were actively avoiding the score till later.
Congratulations to people who like
ball.
soccer.
Sports ball. It's daft.
We're not getting into that. That's a debate. That's banned on this show. No, okay, moving in.
okay.
Summer Radux is asking about the auction house being updated, because it's showing item levels and searches, maybe showing when you're selling a stack of items, showing housing buffs on the architect items. Is there a current revision coming in? I know there's an auction house add-on. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but is the internal team looking to actually do more with the auction house? Because remember, folks, the entire UI is an add-on, even made by Carbine.
I think it's, and this goes for a lot of stuff. You know, I can't speak about that particular issue. It's not one I've personally had involvement in yet. If people want to link me to a thread on the forums, I can make sure that it's being looked at, but it probably already is. One thing I wanted to say, though, is like, a lot of people think that just because the game's launched that they're not going to continually look at stuff, and that's not the case. Like, the guys at Carbine, you know, they're really dedicated to the game. This is their baby. They've spent so long working on it. They're not just going to let stuff lie. Like, you know, they know that there are things they want to improve. You know, it just reached the point where you can spend forever trying to launch a game and making it perfect, and you'll never launch a game. You know, there are some times when you've got to just say, okay, we're going to release this. We know it's not 100%, we know it's like 90%, or there's bugs with it or whatever, but you know, that's an ongoing process they can fix. They're not going to just relax and think that, oh, we've launched now, we can kick back and not do anything.
Well, see,
So, you know, even if there's not something, even if something isn't working, or if there's a problem with something, let us know, because chances are the guys are either working on it or they're more than happy to make it better. I know that like one thing which came up was the currency stuff. A lot of people were saying, like, well, the currency, the distinction between platinum, silver, and renown is really unclear. And John Wiesman is just like, yeah, we'll fix it. And, you know, he's gone in and they're working on a fix for that now. So
there's also worth mentioning there is apparently a Reddit thread about auction house changes that are being discussed, so something to keep in mind. And
there you go.
The answer that you've just given to that actually answers in its own right the questions that we have from CalRel87 asking about, you know, what are they doing to ensure that we don't have to constantly reboot these servers for authentication, or, you know, having these issues with things going down. And the answer is pretty simple. They're constantly trying to work on it, and there is an iterative process. The thing I think that I really love about what you guys are doing is the fact that you are keeping people informed that we have known issues. I mean, at least you acknowledge there's a problem. I can't stand when developers go, what problem? I don't see what you're talking about. We can't duplicate it where we are. It doesn't mean there's not a problem.
One thing I want to make
On that-
clear, just because it's called known issues, that doesn't mean those are the only issues we know about. Like, I've seen that so many times in the forum thread, and it's like, no, guys, I kind of want to change it to be something like confirmed issues, or most common issues, or something like that, just because so many people are like, well, there's like 100 threads in the bug report forum, and none of these are on there. It's like, look, we know, like, these are just the things we know 100% are confirmed as being a problem, and we're either fixing or addressing, or we're looking into it. So I just want to make that clear. Like, just because it's not on the known issues thread doesn't mean it's not an issue that we're looking into. It just means that that's, you know, confirmed, and we've had a response back from the dev saying, yes, I'm working on this, or yes, I'm looking into this. Yeah, absolutely, feel free to communicate it. So
Yeah. On that note, I'd like to give kudos to Mr. Smiley for
Yes.
his responses on Reddit are fantastic in terms of handling queries from players who just want to try and get into the game, and they're either dealing with disconnects or they've had a issue with their account for some reason, and he's been fantastic responding on Reddit with those kind of issues. So kudos to him.
I know Smiley's just put up a couple of posts in the main forum as well, just addressing a couple of big concerns about mass ticket closure and botting and stuff like that as well. And the CS guys, like all the support guys, they're really dedicated to making sure people are aware, and again, keeping that transparency that is so important to Carbine. So,
absolutely. And to go further with that, I want to take my hat off to the support team that works for support, the people who are answering the emails and stuff. I have a feeling they are utterly swamped with how much stuff that's going on. And that goes from everything from, hey, my name change didn't work, to, hey, I found a gold seller. I want to take my hat off to them, but I do know that some people are finding the response time a lot slower than they were expecting. So maybe you might want to give a heads up to what people can expect properly with customer support, because I will tell you this, they are darn good. They really, really are. So
no, I was just going to say, I know that some people have, they've been given like a wrong auto response or something like that. Again, CS don't like it when that happens. They don't like delivering a really, a not optimal, solution. The best thing is just to get back in touch and just say, hey, look, I got this response that I shouldn't have got. Please, can you fix my issue? And they will, they will get to it and resolve it. There was and again, going back to what Gaz was saying, and I mentioned, Smiley's put up a post in the general forum, I think, on the English forums, because we did do a mass ticket closure. Some people got caught up in that shouldn't, and he profusely apologizes and tries to explain why it happened and all this kind of stuff. But it was done to help cut down wait times, because we know there are people out there waiting a long time to get their issue resolved. For some people, it's because their issue is particularly complicated. For some people, it's a case of they're just in a queue where there is a lot of similar people and they just have to wait. We are getting through it. I don't have a rough turnaround time at the moment, but basically all I can say is just be patient. They are responding to it as quickly as they can, and just if you need to, reach out to us and say, hey, I've had a support ticket in the queue for 10 days, I have not heard anything, or 3 days or whatever, and we'll try our best to make sure that it gets looked at.
And
so two related things. Let's do Bob's question.
Actually, I'm going to make Kaeyi do Bob's question from the chat. Ooh. There's a question from the one and only Bob. I'm going to make you read it.
The one and only Bob. Okay, yeah, I see it. Lots of people can't use their transfer they paid for, although they fulfill requirements. Is this a problem on the radar? Says the one and only Bob.
So the main thing to check is because, and I know Bob says that that fulfill the requirements. Do just absolutely make sure that the server they're not trying to transfer to is a full population. It's listed on the forums. Make sure that's not the case. But also there is a gold limit as well. You can only transfer with a certain amount of currency. We've just updated the paid realms thread with that information. So do just make sure that that's not the case. If you are finding that you can't transfer and you fulfill all those requirements, get in touch with support straight away, because there's obviously an issue there. And anything which is account-based, really only support can help. That's the main thing to remember. If it's anything to do with your account, none of the community team can help you with that. Only the support team really can. So you really need to submit a ticket and get through to those guys.
So here's one for you. I've seen this in zone chat, people wondering if this is true or not. A few people have stated that if you've got a ticket in and you kind of update with a comment, does it just sit on the ticket, or does it drop it back down to the bottom of the queue?
So my understanding is that there was an issue where it was dropping them to the bottom. That's not intentional. That's not how the system's intended to work, but it was happening. I don't have an update on if that's still happening, but what we say is only update your ticket if you have relevant information, just to be on the safe side. Don't update it like, where's my response? I've not had a response. Where's my response? Don't do that. Generally, if you've got additional info, submit it. If you don't submit multiple tickets, even if you're so angry that it's not had a response, if you submit another ticket, it's just going to mean it's going to be longer. You're just going to be waiting longer. So, just try and be patient and wait. And they will get back to you. Like, they're not just going to ignore it. They will respond to the message. So,
sounds good.
So I'm gonna close with one question. Then a little bit of humor involved here. Now, whenever you're dealing with a large community, you always get some unusual requests. They talk about the emergency phone lines that get someone phoning up saying, "Hello, I've just burnt my toast. Can you help?" or whatever it is. Have you had anything highly amusing hit the office? Obviously, keep these anonymous. That's done the rounds internally.
Have we had anything? There probably has been, but my brain is drawing a blank. Like,
pizza mush at the moment.
yeah, it's like I'm sure there
Pizza
must have
mush.
been something funny. Somebody, I just can't remember. I'm sure that if I think of something, I will tweet it out at MMOBuff, and you can let folks know. But yeah, I can't think of one off the top of my head.
We will look forward to it. So, we are looking at the clock.
Yep.
It is ticking. Pseudo.
Just want to add two things because we are at a time clock thing, and we want to make certain everybody gets to bed at a valuable time tonight. Right, Kai? Not staying up until 3 a.m. in the morning. Right, Nina? But the thing is, we have an awful lot of questions that haven't been answered yet. Mark, if I get these questions to you, can I get you to do a awesome voiceover soundy thing for your answers, and we can just throw it up on YouTube afterwards as part of our Quick Bite series for this show?
I'll see if I can do that, yeah. Or if not, if I can't do a voiceover thing, I'll write out all the answers and we can send those out to somebody via the MMOBuff website or something. But yeah,
Yes.
I'll try and record some answers for them. Yeah, no problem.
And the final thing is just a quick call to action about all the stuff that's happening on MMOBuff this week, and then I can let you close the show. I can't let Mizpah get away with closing the show without doing all the stuff we're supposed to do. So it's one of those things. So now everyone can sit back and relax while I tell everybody what's coming up in this upcoming week on MMOBuff. So tomorrow we have our Top Draw show where Dr. Marcia and I look at TCGs. Monday, we have Mizpah and myself arguing as always because he always gets it wrong and he just needs to understand that. And we'll be discussing some type of issue involving MMOs that will be revealed. I have an idea of what it is, but we can't talk about it yet. It's all super secret. Tuesday, we have Screenager, Real Blank Space, and myself talking about communities. Now, here's the thing. Mark, we've been trying to get you on the campfire to talk communities for a while.
It's because you keep picking on the worst possible days.
It's a Tuesday! It's a
Everything
Tuesday at
happens on
the
a
same
Tuesday.
time.
Every Tuesday, something has gone wrong. Every Tuesday.
So now we know Tuesdays are a day when things go wrong for you. At some point in time, we have got to get you onto the
I will
campfire.
most definitely appear as soon as I have a free Tuesday.
Sweet. Okay, that could be a year from now, but that's all right. Because patch days are Tuesdays, aren't they, for WildStar?
Yeah, so it happens I think it's early in the morning for EU, kind of around 10 a.m., I'd like to say. That might be completely wrong. That's just off the top of my head. But yeah, Tuesdays is generally reset and patch and stuff like that. It's also, unfortunately, just in terms, and this is into office knowledge, it also just tends to be when we have a lot of calls with the US, so I often end up staying quite late in the office. So that's another reason why it's often quite hard to get on Campfire. So.
And there you go, folks. Internal knowledge. And then Wednesday, we have the Blizzard forecast, which just talks about Blizzard IPs. We have Parv from Yogscast on there. We've got Blank Space. We've got Hearth Trollden. We have Mizpah. We have myself. And we have Dr. Marshmallow. And we cover all kinds of crazy things. Thursday is the only show we have at 1 p.m., and everything else is at 8 p.m., is the data mine. We have quite a few developers who have been asking to come onto the show, and I'm not exactly certain who will be joining us this Thursday, but it could be anything. Last Thursday, it was Team 17, the creative manager, Kevin. Absolutely hysterical guy. If you haven't a chance to see it, go check out YouTube. And then next week, we're back with the Cosmotronic, and maybe we'll be lucky and we can, have, I don't know, Cougar on. Or maybe Smiley. Let's get Smiley on the show.
I want
ask
CRB
him.
none on.
Oh, none. Is it, who's
like
it's his birthday today? It's
Yes,
CRB
it's
Non's birthday today.
Everyone go tweet.
Happy birthday.
None.
Yep, tweet at
Happy
CRB
birthday from MMOBuff.
Yes,
Yeah,
we should. In fact,
absolutely.
Mizpah, that is your current objective and goal. But yes, I'd love to get a variety of people on. So, Mark, I'm going to publicly ask you in a public forum, see if you have anybody else who might be able to join us for an hour.
I will happily ask them, and see if they've got the free time.
Absolutely. But other than that, that is me shutting up about the stuff coming up. And Mizpah, you actually do get a chance to talk now. You can close the show.
Well, I've been told to sit back and relax, so that's exactly what I'm doing. Mark, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you with us, and thank you to everyone that has joined us. But the clock has beaten us once more. We've got a full week ahead, but for now, that's time for everyone to sign off from MMO Buff. Now, one thing you might not know, Mark, is everyone has a unique particular... Well, you do know, because you watch it, but everyone has a unique particular style for signing off that they have to stick to. So we're going to start with Pseudo.
Toodle pip.
We're going to move on to Gazi.
Bye.
We're going to go to Kai.
Bye.
And now, Mark, you get to invent your MMO Buff closing comment.
Well, I can't remember what I did at the live show that we did from the community party, so I'm going to go with a quote from this is for Gaz, from everyone's favourite chewer, Mondo Zax. Cosmotronic job.
Fantastic.
And on that note, this is Mizpah, signing off for MMO Buff.